Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 9 of our WCW 1998 save and TEW 2020. This is Nitro for week 4 in January. This is the go-home edition of Nitro before we get to Sold Out, our pay-per-view, January week 4. We'll have Thunder coming up on the next episode, but this is Nitro and a lot to get into on this. And before we wrap up the episode, I'll talk about a big change I'm considering after Sold Out, which I may not reveal. I may. We'll see how it goes. But I am thinking about kind of making a change to this particular save that will allow me to get episodes out a little bit quicker for you guys. Because I know it's between doing this one and you guys know the WWE one in 2021, now 2022. It's kind of the flagship of the channel. And we have our AEW one too. But I want to be able to get you more WCW 1998 episodes. And I think there's going to be a way to do that. And so we may talk about that here in a bit. But let's jump into this edition of Nitro, which starts with the pre-show. Faces of Fear, Ming and the Barbarian getting the win over the Public Enemy. Rocco Rock, Johnny Grunge. Ming submits Grunge, and that will do it for this one. 57, not a bad match, but, tag team division it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's the best tag team division in WCW right now, but we're going to be working on that after Sold Out. You'll kind of see, as I've teased before, this is sort of the first month here is going to be kind of a starting point, but you'll see some pretty significant changes after Sold Out, just kind of getting through some of the current storylines that were kind of already built into place, but you'll see some things change after that, and we'll see if either of these teams get involved and how the tag team division continues to evolve in WCW. But let's get into the main show here, and we are not going to start with the promo. We're going to start with a match, and it's going to be Randy Savage getting the win over Jim the Anvil Neidhart here to start off. So really, a nice match here, 75 to start off the show. When, again, you consider Savage with an 80, Neidhart with a 49, that's a solid start to this show, having a 75 here. And, Savage, we know, is kind of on course here for that big match with Lex Luger. It Sold Out, and we've been kind of playing up Savage's, I don't want to say, maybe dissension is the right word. He's not been really happy with Hollywood Hogan, and Hogan instructing him to try to take out Luger because Hogan's pissed at Luger, and so there's all kinds of stuff going on. The NWO doesn't like anyone. Hogan doesn't like anyone, but Savage thus far has been focusing on himself, and he gets the win here in a good match. Neidhart, again, not a great in-ring performance, but a lot of former WWF guys, like we said, Neidhart, Duggan, Martel, all those guys who've been using quite a bit, and I don't want to call these guys jobbers. I love the late 80s WWF too much, but these are guys who just are not really featured into our plans at the moment. But Savage gets the win here. The bigger story is that after the match, we see Savage go to the back, and he is greeted by Hall and Nash. And it is Hall and Nash trying to talk some sense into Randy Savage because, again, we've talked about the dissension there. Savage is, basically defying all of Hogan's orders. He's part of the NWO, and Hall and Nash are just saying, come on, Randy, this is not a good idea. We're all, brothers here. We're all together. Just do what we need you to do. Tonight, we need you to do the same thing. If you're not going to listen to Hulk, maybe you'll listen to us. We need you to come out here and take care of business with Lex Luger. Leading into your match, we know you're going to beat Lex. It's Sold Out, but Hogan wants him done for now. He wanted him done last week, and you just need to help us out here. And so that's kind of them saying the same thing to Savage. Savage just shakes his head and walks off at these two. So will Savage make an appearance a little bit later on? We got a big main event, by the way. It's going to be Hogan, Hall, and Nash teaming up in 6-man tag action as they will take on Lex Luger and our current tag team champions, the Steiner Brothers. So that's a big main event for this Nitro. Will Savage get involved? We'll find out a little bit later on. 79 for this one. And then we go to Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero. And these two here, we'll have some fun with this one. They're kind of arguing for microphone time. Both of them kind of just taking the microphone back and forth from each other, having some fun here, just taunting their opponents. Of course, Jericho's got the match coming up with Dean Malenko. That's Sold Out. Eddie's going to defend the Cruiserweight title against Ultimo Dragon. So just envision that scenario where these two are just wanting to just keep talking and talking and talking, as we know they enjoy doing. And they're just kind of taking the microphone back and forth from each other. But they are going to team up next. But for now, getting a lot of words in on their opponents. So let's get to 65 for this one. And we did say they were going to team up. And they do here, as it is Jericho and Eddie. getting the win in tag team action against Liz Mark Jr. and Prince Iaukea. 8:15 for this one. Jericho submits Iaukea. That's how they get the job done. Look, Eddie and Jericho, just fantastic here. With this, we tried a nice cruiserweight pairing. You've seen me do that with some of the cruiserweight teams. You'll see another one here in a bit. This is just something that I've wanted to try this first month to see if there's any kind of cruiserweight tag teams we can put together, any chemistry notes. But clearly, Liz Mark and Prince Iaukea will not be joining that mix because they are not a good team. So that hurts this match a little bit. But it gets to 65. So we'll take that with Jericho and Eddie just kind of building some momentum heading into those singles matches on Sunday at Sold Out. And then we go to Mean Gene Okerlund, who is out on the stage, and Booker T makes his way out. And look who's with him. It is his former tag team partner, Stevie Ray, his brother here. And Booker says, Gene Okerlund's like, well, hold on a second. What is Stevie Ray doing here? And Booker says that J.J. Dillon has informed them a little bit earlier on that Raven would be competing tonight. And they found an opponent. And that opponent is going to be Stevie Ray. So we know Raven is challenging Booker T for the television title. It's Sold Out. They've had a hot feud going on here. And that is what we're doing here. We're going to have Raven versus Stevie Ray coming up next. And Booker T telling Gene that he's very confident that his brother will be able to take care of business here against Raven ahead of Sunday's big match. So 59 here for this one. And that does lead us into the match between Raven and Stevie Ray. And as you would expect, Stevie Ray has to do the job here, as it's Raven getting the win over Stevie Ray, 7:29. The DDT does it. 53, not a great match, but, let's be honest. It's just kind of one of those things where Raven's not that over to this point. Stevie Ray's not that over either. In-ring performances were not great either, so we're trying to build up some guys because we know like these shows are going to be carried and they have to be big ratings because our popularity is in the mid 80s, and we've got to start building up some of these guys through popularity standpoint, like the Ravens who are in the 50s and those kind of things. We gotta see what we can do, and that will also be kind of part of our changes you'll see after Sold Out. That will be a big focus. Is kind of maybe getting the roster a little bit more tight and focused in terms of who we're going to feature on our shows moving forward. So we'll talk more about that as we get to it. But 53 for this one. After the match, as you would expect, all hell breaks loose because these guys are not happy with each other. Booker and Stevie, they start to brawl with Raven and Saturn. So we've got kind of a brouhaha on our hands here with these two, Harlem Heat, brawling with Raven and Saturn. It's one of those two where I know the flock exists, and to be honest with you, like it's just putting anyone else in the flock in any of these segments just drags it down so much because they're not that over in the save. So like putting a Hammer or a Kidman, I guess Scotty Riggs is the other one. Like it's just, I know it would probably make sense to try to do that, but we're just going to kind of stick with the main focus here, which is having these guys, Raven and Saturn, be a little bit more featured. Look, if you're wanting everyone in the flock to get involved, we could probably go that route, but it's just, it hurts our rating. That's got a 48. It's not like this got a 90, so it's already a challenge. So a little brawl here to kind of build up the hype leading into that match. And then, unfortunately, DDP goes off script here. We usually don't get that note with DDP, but he gets a 71 for this promo, as it is Gene with DDP, and this is kind of just your babyface promo here, your babyface champion, DDP, our U.S. heavyweight title holder, been basically just kind of forced into this in a sense by Regal. Steven Regal just kind of continuing to poke it at DDP, and this is just DDP, hyping himself up and saying that Regal's going to fill the bang. That Sold Out. So that's our U.S. heavyweight title match, DDP and Regal. That should be a fun one. But a nice promo here from DDP for this one. And then, speaking of the tag team I put together, no chemistry either for Chavo and Hoovy, as it is Buff Bagwell and Scott Norton, MWO tag team here, getting the win over Chavo and Hoovy. Buff pins Chavo with the blockbuster. We kind of see the in-ring performances here. Hoovy off his game. 53, not great either. This is just, again, our ratings. This will change, and that's going to be part of kind of our different shift in our focus for WCW moving forward after Sold Out. But this is just something that we're trying to to push through until after sold out, so I can kind of make a pretty significant change when it comes to this. But this is kind of our feeling out period. We kind of need to see who can do what and those kind of things. But we know Buff and Norton challenging for the tag team titles against the Steiner Brothers. It sold out, so this is another win to kind of rack up for them, give them some momentum. And teaser, won't be the last we see of one person in this match tonight. So here we go. On to the next one. Goldberg is issuing an open challenge for Sold Out. And again, Goldberg not doing well without a script to follow. I think he's done well before, so just kind of with DDP and Goldberg here, not great luck with this, but it still gets a 78 because Goldberg is over, as we know, and he's got some good ratings when it comes to microphone and charisma and those kind of things. So that always helps when we're doing a freestyle linger with Goldberg. But it's Goldberg issuing an open challenge. He brings up, at this point, it doesn't really matter who accepts the challenge because, he is someone that, let's be honest, he's beaten everyone in his path, and he says if anyone else wants to step up to him and be another number in the streak, they can come find him, and they can be next at Sold Out. So who will face Goldberg at Sold Out? We will find out. You guessed it, at Sold Out. So no official opponent name yet, but we'll see who answers the challenge for Goldberg on Sunday. 78, great segment here. And then in another not great match, very short though, we kept it short. The Giant gets a win over Hugh Morris, 5:23, the choke slam. This was essentially your squash match, 53 for this one. Well executed squash, kind of what I figured. We get a bonus there for that one. But remember, we have to keep in mind, Giant still being penalized for being inexperienced. Remember how young he is still at this point. So that's something we continue to get with his matches, and we'll see how that goes, as things progress. But you kind of know what you're getting here. But the bigger story from this match is Giant gets a win, and afterwards is Kevin Nash, who's on the screen, and Nash says that, they're finally going to meet in the ring. It's Sold Out, and Nash says he's going to shock the world because he's going to go in there and he's going to powerbomb the Giant at Sold Out. So Nash issuing a declaration here that he's going to go in there and powerbomb this Giant. We'll see how that plays out. If you remember, which I know some of you guys watching this, like you were watching wrestling during this era, and if you've watched, I guess It's Sold Out. Is that the pay-per-view it happened? I think it is. In 98 when it actually happened, and the powerbomb spot, oh my God, it's still one of the worst spots I've ever seen. It's just total brutality when it's just dropped on the head, and the Nash and Giant powerbomb spot. If you don't know what I'm talking about, type it into YouTube. Nash, Giant, WCW, powerbomb, and just be prepared to turn your head because it was just, so brutal. So brutal. Hopefully that doesn't happen in our match. It's Sold Out because one of those guys are going to get injured, and they're going to probably break their neck and be out for 2 years. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but Nash apparently calling his shot here for the powerbomb. 72 for this match, or for this angle. And here we go. Things starting to pick up match-wise, and we know that's because Ric Flair is in action, and Flair gets the win over Michael Wallstreet. So, if you're early 90s WWF fan, Ric Flair versus IRS here, getting the win, submission, the figure four does it. Wallstreet off his game, we still get an 80. Flair with a great in-ring performance, 82, 80 overall, and it is kind of funny to think that we look at what Flair's doing here, declining physical ability. This is 1998, and as I'm recording this, of course, Flair just had his last match. I guess if that's actually going to be his last match, it's just crazy to think that 24 years later, this guy's wrestling. But still, nonetheless, it is Flair getting the win over Wallstreet here. We know Flair's got the big match with Bret Hart. Winner goes on to face whoever the WCW World Heavyweight Champion will be in the main event at Super Brawl. So that's kind of our setup there. Flair with a phenomenal job here, getting this to an 80. And another phenomenal job after the match because it is Flair grabbing the promo, and we do want to mention Bret Hart was ringside for this match. He's once again scouting Flair. We've seen this in recent weeks. And it is Flair, telling Bret that, he's talked all about Bret and wanting Bret to kind of see what his future could hold in their match. It Sold Out. But Flair says he also wants to make it very clear that this may be his last shot at getting to the top and getting that World Heavyweight Championship that he holds, for a record amount of times. This may be his last chance for him to get that shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. So Flair kind of turning the tide from really focusing on Bret here to more on himself and saying, this is also about me, in that I have to beat you on Sunday because this may be my last chance to get my hands back on that World Heavyweight Championship. So a pretty great promo here from Flair, 83 overall, and just great stuff here for this one. So good. I mean, look, we fully expect this match to be absolutely fantastic. It's sold out. It's not going to be our main event, but we're basically having a double main event. It's going to be Hogan Sting for the championship, Flair Bret. That's pretty much your double main event. And if you want to throw in Kevin Nash and the Giant, although ratings wise, I don't think we're getting close to those other two with Nash and Giant. But all right, and speaking of which, things really pick up 95 for this one, as it is Hogan, Hall, and Nash who are in the back, and they say that the NWO is strong and they will take care of business with or without Randy Savage. And Hogan's just still kind of in his pissed off mood. We saw Hogan just lose it last week on Thunder when he just kind of, cut this scathing promo on Sting and saying how he was going to finish Sting and all this at Sold Out and just finish him off once and for all. But Hogan says the NWO is not just going to take care of business tonight. They're going to take care of business at Sold Out with the Giant, with Zbyszko, and with Sting. So, but tonight Hogan wants to focus on Luger because he wants to kick Lex Luger's ass. That's what it comes down to. We've seen this in recent weeks. So 95 for this one. And that's going to lead us into our main event. Hogan, fantastic. What do we get for our main events? Let's see. 76, so not bad. I think the Steiner Brothers not that over, but all these other four we know are wildly over in terms of their popularity. But in this one, how does it go? It is Hogan getting the win here in our main event as he pins Rick Steiner with a low blow following interference from Buff Bagwell. So Buff, leading into our tag team championship match with him and Norton against the Steiners, Buff gets involved here, and that allows the NWO shenanigans to reign supreme. Hogan with a low blow, and he pins Rick Steiner to win win the main event here. And Hogan is the best in terms of in-ring performance, 83. Hall off his game, but a lot of good stuff here with the manager stuff still working well with Bischoff and Louis Piccoli. So a nice 6-man tag. This is one that I thought would be an interesting kind of dynamic, having your original NWO here, having Luger and the Steiners. But the bigger story, Buff getting involved again. We've seen that with Buff and Norton and the Steiners. And also, Hogan getting a win over Luger's team here has also been something that Hogan's been wanting. So 76 for this. And then, as if that wasn't enough, which it never is with the NWO, as we know, we get a 77 for this one, as it's Hogan, Hall, and Nash going after Lex Luger after the match. Trying to take out Luger. This is what Hogan's been wanting. Sting kind of thwarted him, as we know, a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. I can't remember at this point. But Hogan trying to finish the job here with Luger because Savage won't do it, and now he's got Hall and Nash there with him. So these three start to go after Luger, and just when that happens, and by the way, we get a 77 here because we rated this on fighting, I think, and we didn't do like microphone or anything like that. Of course, it would have done a lot better, but that's the segment. So that's what we're doing and aiming at in this segment. So just as they go to do it, what happens? You guessed it. Lights go out. Here he comes. The man is back. And Sting arrives with his bat once again. He's thwarted Hogan yet again when it comes to Lex Luger. And Sting this time, remember before, Sting tried to go after Hogan, couldn't get him. This time, though, he gets that bat on somebody because he hits Scott Hall and Kevin Nash with the bat, but Hogan still manages to escape and retreat here without getting, the bat shot from Sting. But we finish off with an 88. Great segment to end here. Hogan comes across well. Of course he does. But it is Sting almost getting Hogan this time, but at least he got something on the NWO as he does take out Hall and Nash with that bat. And that is how we go off the air with the continued tension between Sting and Hogan. And now only one show away from their big showdown, the big rematch at Sold Out for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So we finish off strong here with an 88. This show gets an 82, and it does increase our popularity in 28 regions. As I always say, that's all we care about. So as long as we're increasing and not decreasing, that is what's important. And so we do increase our popularity here. Pretty strong show. We had some good segments here. A couple good matches. Savage and Neidhart, Flair and Wallstreet. Some former like WWF type matches there. But yeah, a lot of good stuff on the show. And anything Hogan's in, it's going to do really well. Same thing with Sting, and Hall and Nash did some good stuff on the show too. So there you go. There is Nitro. And now let's see what we get to before we wrap up. All right, so Nitro, as we see, positive show. Raw, let's look at Raw. We always do this. Raw, also positive. By the way, before we get into Raw, actually, there's something we need to look at. We need to look at the WWF because they had the Royal Rumble here recently. So let's take a look at the Royal Rumble because that happened on Sunday before we got to Nitro. And if you want to know how things turned out with the Rumble, well, not a great show. 67, just a truly, I think, atrocious edition of the Royal Rumble here when you consider that The Undertaker won the Royal Rumble. So he, wins the match, and that's what you would expect. That's understandable. But for some reason, Blackjack Wyndham winning the 10 wrestler battle royal after the Royal Rumble. I don't know if this was supposed to be the post show or what, but for some reason this was the main event, and I scratched my head on that one. The AI not exactly coming through with a great one here, but apparently we get his cage match on the undercard. The Brooklyn Brawlers in here. This is just, boy, if this is our competition here, we're going to put the WWF out of business soon because these are some awful things that they're booking here. Triple H retaining by DQ. I mean, this is brutal. So another DQ match and another title match. Like this is, oh boy, WWF struggling. They may hire me soon. I may need to go over and book the WWF because they're in a mess with the Royal Rumble. It was not great, but The Undertaker wins. Let's get back to looking at Raw. See if Raw is any better. Okay, Raw's much better. 81 here. So, geez, how many DQs they got? Every championship match they have a DQ. Like we just talked about it. Outlaws retained by DQ at the Rumble. They retained by DQ here on Raw. Shawn retaining the World Heavyweight title by DQ over Cactus. Like, are any other championship matches? Does anybody beat anyone? Does Vince not want anyone to get over? Man, what is he doing over there? But nonetheless, Psycho Sid squashing Scott Putski. That's good to see. Undertaker squashing Tom Brady. Undertaker goes from winning the Rumble to facing Tom Brady. That's a step down, in my opinion. The Inner Circle defeating the Nation of Domination. I don't think that's Jericho and Hager. I think that's I don't remember who the Inner Circle is. And that's right. It was Shamrock and Owen. I forgot that's what they were named. That's kind of, I don't know. It kind of works, I think, for that. The Inner Circle when you consider, I guess, the Octagon and all that stuff. So, all right, that was Raw. We were the better show, so we win this week. We win the war this week. Yeah, we did 82. They did 81. So, Bill Clinton denying the affair with the intern. I like having these kind of notes in here from the actual, era itself. So Bill Clinton denying it in January 1998 with the famous line, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." So we'll see how this plays out in future editions. We'll see how this plays out for the presidential situation. All right, let's look at our mail here while looking at this great photo here on the left. DDP, boy, DDP's not happy with Scott Steiner. He thinks Scott Steiner needs to learn how to sell, so we're not pushing Scott until he sells it. Well, DDP, calling it like it is. I mean, Scott's not really known for selling, so I can't say I'm surprised there. But, all right, DDP, your opinion is noted. WCW, we get a Nitro or a 5.04, so 3.7 million viewers, almost 3.8 million, so that will do. We'd like some more, but we'll do it. Gala TV unhappy with the performance of Nitro, so apparently we didn't get a high enough rating here, but those things are going to happen. We'll probably get dropped by someone soon enough, but it is what it is. So there you go. Chaz, so Mosh is out. He tore an ACL. Wow, there goes a tag team for WWF. So there you have it. Maybe you can team up with Bill Clinton. We'll see. Maybe Thrasher and Bill Clinton is your next tag team in the WWF. So maybe better than their main event of the Royal Rumble. So, all right, there you go. That was Nitro. As I said, next up will be Thunder. And I kind of teased it earlier. I'm going to hold off till after Sold Out to kind of tell you the possible big change I may make to the save. But I'm going to wait till Sold Out to tell you that after the show. So sorry for the teaser, but we'll talk about it after the show. on Sold Out. But be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And check out the WWE 2022 now. We're into that. Beyond 2021, we're into 2022. So we're almost to the Rumble there. If you want a much better booked Royal Rumble than the WWF had here in 1998, go check out our WWE 2022 save. And also the AEW one is up as well. So lots of stuff in there. WWE one, 80-plus episodes. AEW, 10-plus episodes now. So a lot of stuff there if you want to go through and check those out. But on the next episode of our WCW 1998 series, it will be our go-home edition of Thunder before Sold Out.